Welcome to the EDIB Forum, and thank you for your interest in peer coaching. I'm Mark Raudebush, and on behalf of our team, I'll be sharing what we've learned so far from running the first university-wide peer coaching initiative at Harvard. So for a brief background introduction, I do suggest you watch our 5-minute video called What is the Harvard University Peer Coaching Initiative? That's where we pitch the idea of an extracurricular activity in which students would practice specific listening skills in pairs. And well, you know what happened. We got the grant, and in the fall, we ran the first HUPCI with 12 undergraduates and 48 grad students from a variety of schools. There was education, public health, business, government, and engineering. Each participant was matched with a partner based on criteria that they specified through our confidential matching survey, and then given clear guidance on how to run their weekly meetings, in which they would take turns being in the role of coach and coachee. So overall, participants were very happy with their experience. They, in large majorities, said they would recommend it to someone next year. And they also said they thought it was a worthwhile investment of their time. So today, for the rest of this presentation, I'd like to focus on the impact that we hoped we would have, and then what actually turned out when we measured it with surveys and interviews. So we predicted 3 different impacts, 2 of them individuals, because we thought, well, as the coachee practicing reflecting not just on external challenges and problems, but also on their own interpretations and responses to those challenges, that participants would develop several skills, being aware of and willing to share their thoughts and feelings, for one thing, and reflecting on their thoughts and assumptions, being able to kind of look at them from a new perspective, taking responsibility for their own role and contribution, and then finally, feeling more confident, less lonely, less like an imposter. So broadly, we'd call those coping skills, and we expected participants to be better able to handle challenges that were coming at them in their careers as students. As coaches, that is, as listeners, participants were going to practice providing a psychologically safe environment for their partners' learning. And so we predicted they'd be more aware of and better able to share airtime and control and responsibility in a conversation, that they would practice staying attentive and focused on the experience of another person, being curious about another's views even when they disagreed, and finally respecting the other person's choices, being non-judgmental. We also believed that individuals who develop those capabilities would tend to influence a culture positively. That is, in any group or relationship where someone was being more open and honest, where someone was listening with more patience and interest, curiosity, that we would expect there to be better trust and mutual respect. We'd expect them to handle difficult conversations and conflicts more skillfully, be better able to collaborate, and finally, just overall feel a greater sense of belonging and commitment to each other. So, what happened? Let me share some of that with you. First, this ability to handle challenges, or the coping side of things. Here's what the survey said. Well, people felt less lonely if you were comparing the waitlist group to the participants. They also felt greater sense of thriving. So this is a standard scale called Brief Inventory of Thriving, which is about people feeling confident, like their life is meaningful, they have a sense of purpose. So participants versus the control group, the waitlist people, same general demographics profile. The participants experience a higher level of thriving at the end of the semester. We asked, when you have a problem or worry, how often do you let someone know about it in your personal life? And we saw a significant bump there among participants. And then we asked about the impact in the following areas, and participants reported high levels of being better able to handle challenges that have bothered them in the past and gaining insight and growing as a person. So we took those as all as being signs of greater coping ability, or better able to grow and rise to the occasion. In the interviews, we learned about the same thing. So I'm going to read these in case you're listening to this as an audio, but of course you can skip ahead or maybe just read it on your own if you prefer. But here's some of the quotes. Before peer coaching, I would have been the person to go last in class. Now I offer to speak first. Next one. I came into peer coaching to have hard conversations about the challenges of getting a PhD at Harvard. Peer coaching opened up my understanding of potential avenues after graduate school. So very directly related to their professional development. I became a better self-advocate. It gave a new perspective on problems I've been grappling with. This was valuable. And finally, my having been heard in the peer coaching relationship, along with learning to participate more in classes, led to better learning. So in the second category, remember, listening and interpersonal skills that the participant was practicing in the role of coach. Here's what the survey said. Participants reported they felt better equipped to help friends or colleagues when they asked for help, and that they improved their coaching skills, specifically listening attentively and challenging respectfully. We asked, how often do you stay curious about another person's thoughts and feelings, even if you disagree with them? And we saw a bump there among participants versus the wait list. We also asked, after this convo or learning conversation, people reported if they felt more empowered, that is, had greater clarity, insight, or motivation around something. So this was the person in the role of coachee reporting on whether the coach had done a good job. And we got very good results for this, with over 90% agreeing or strongly agreeing that they felt more empowered as a result of the conversation. So what about in the interviews? Here's what people said. Coaching is valuable from a physician's perspective when speaking to patients. There's direct relevance to their professional skills. I'll use this experience to build a one-on-one mentoring program in an alumni program in China, said another participant. I see a lot of applications for my future endeavors as a doctor, said one. And in peer coaching, I learned to listen, and listening helped me get all the information. I use that daily now. So this was, we heard a lot of different versions of this, people saying this is relevant to me professionally, these listening skills are useful in my career. The third bucket that we talked about, the way in which these skills could contribute to a culture of trust and belonging. In the survey, we measured imposter phenomenon and saw that it went down among participants. They were less likely to think of themselves as somehow being here because of a mistake, and more likely to feel like they belonged. The sense of belonging scale, which is another standard scale, showed participants having a greater sense of belonging than waitlist people. And in the quotes, people said things like the following. You might remember this first quote if you watch the video. I attended Harvard coming from a low-income first-generation background and being a Black woman. So having all these different kinds of barriers, it was particularly important for me to find a home at Harvard. Being part of peer coaching allowed me to be real and human and speak with other students. So I felt like, wow, these are my people. Another participant said, peer coaching was a safe space of trust and confidence. It wasn't just calling it a safe space, it really was a safe space. Peer coaching led to a shift in my sense of belonging. Just having my peer coach as one of my rocks throughout the semester gave me a sense of security and stability. And finally, I'm in a class on race and racism and health policy. We talk about really important issues. There, when I really listen, I hear perspectives that surprise me. There are ways of thinking about an issue that hadn't occurred to me before. And this, to us, was a really exciting example of where someone in their professional work, when they're dealing with a contentious issue and multiple points of view, found themselves better able to listen. I do thank you if you've been listening this long. We're so glad for your interest. And we have seen a lot of interest across the university. So we're working on a governance and resource plan to make this kind of professional development or listening practice available to those who want it on an ongoing basis. And you can help us. If you believe that peer coaching could benefit your learning community at Harvard, please, please, please take a moment to complete our statement of support and feedback survey. It's short and it really matters, and we'd love to hear from you. And also, please join us for the live Q&A at the EDIB forum on Wednesday, April 13th from 1:30 to 2:30. We hope we'll see you there. All right, take care.